Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It's summer, kids are on summer break, and I'm just trying to get in the flow and figuring out this whole new schedule and just having kids at home, and just like we all are, right? And so it feels like I haven't recorded a podcast, but I like to batch record them, and so it's just like getting into the flow of things again. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these, so I'm excited to be sitting down and doing that. Today I wanted to talk about 10 ways to add value to your flip furniture pieces. There's so many ways that you can add value to your flip furniture pieces, and but some of these ideas or tips, or sometimes they get overlooked, and some of them are so simple that we before I even forget, I need to grab a pen and a paper just because I always have things come to me as I'm recording these, and so I just like to have pen and a paper right near me. Some of these things we just need to think, we just need to, and here's the thing. Once you start doing this and you're doing it more often, some of these will become super, super simple. You'll be able to tell right away, like, oh yeah, this only needs this. It was last week from when I'm recording this. I was at a yard sale and there was this old sewing table, and we've all seen sewing tables, right? Where you can flip up the top and the sewing machine comes out, but I have never seen one like this. And the sewing machine, none of that was inside of it. And initially when I saw the table, I was like, I just love this table. It would be really cool in an entryway. Like, I immediately start going with, how can somebody use this in their home? Where do I see it in our home? And so then when I went over to investigate it a little bit more, I'm like, oh my, it's a sewing table. Like, I lifted the top, and there was a hole in it where the sewing table was. I'm like, this is a sewing table. I've never seen one like it. It has like ornate details. It's really like, just got clean lines, but clean and ornate, that doesn't sound like they go together. But just at the top, there's like an ornate piece. And then on the front part, there's a couple of ornate pieces. But the rest is like, it's a perfect entry table, side table, nightstand table for any style. I was just smitten with it. And it's a piece of furniture that it's legit. I just had to bring it home, clean it up, and use one of my favorite products for flipping furniture. And if you do not have it, you need it. It's my favorite. It's salve, and you should be using this on a lot of your projects. But that's all I needed to do, because the wood it was thirsty. It was really dry. It had been sitting probably in a shed or something. And so literally that's all. I sanded it a little bit, cleaned it up really well. I am going to add a shelf. I just started it this morning. I'm going to add a shelf like inside of it, but I'm going to add a couple of knobs, and then that's it. Like, I think a lot of people get discouraged when they hear flipping furniture. Not every piece has to be an entire overhaul, or where you're stripping it down to the bare bones and, rebuilding something. Like, no. There are many times when I have just picked up furniture, cleaned it up, and sold it as is. So, and you will definitely find those pieces, especially as you start doing this and you're doing it more often and often, because you're going to be on the hunt for it more often. You will run into those pieces where it needs literally nothing. Maybe some staging and some good lighting. Literally, that has happened to me before. So, but today I just kind of wanted to run through 10 ways that you can add value to your flipped furniture pieces. And just, maybe some things you haven't thought about. So number one, if you're painting a piece of furniture, and yes, not all pieces get paint, just today. This is such a hot topic. And to be completely honest, one of my latest reels on Instagram just went viral because this topic is so people are really strongly opinionated about this. But if you are going to paint a piece of furniture, choose a color that's going to appeal to multiple buyers. So when you are choosing colors, and you're going to sell this. It's not a commissioned piece. It is not a piece that somebody has brought to you. And if you want to learn more about commission pieces versus doing pieces just like on your own and then selling them like that, I do have a podcast about that. Make sure you check it out, because there are a lot of things I talk about in that podcast that people don't think about, and I think it'll be really helpful to you. So I'm just writing that down. We have to add that link. So we will leave the links to these things that I'm talking about in the show notes. So make sure you check those out. So anyway, so when you are painting a piece of furniture to sell, make sure that you choose a color that's going to appeal to the buyer. Inside my furniture flipping course, I talk about how to find out what is going to sell best in your area, but there's some research you can do. There are some steps you can take to figure that out, but you want to appeal to the masses. So when you're choosing a paint color, remember that, because it is going to add value to your piece, because it's going to be sought after by more people. So you can ask more, if let's just say in your area, a hot pink, fluorescent pink is not going to sell very well. So that's not going to add value to your furniture flipping if you're trying to make money with your pieces, right? So you want to make sure that you are choosing a color that's going to appeal to the masses, to as many people as you can. Another way you can add value is replacing old hardware with new hardware. And again, this is not always the case, but I have brought home pieces that maybe somebody had already made over, or it needs a makeover, but the hardware is just so wrong. It is amazing what you can do to a piece with the hardware alone. I'm not kidding. That's why I always tell everybody that's flipping furniture, if you're not going to use the hardware, keep it, stash it away, kind of get a good inventory of hardware, because you will use that hardware on another piece. So, but sometimes this has happened to me as well. You guys, I've been doing this for more than 20 years. So a lot has happened to me with the whole furniture flipping journey, but where I have literally brought a piece home, changed the hardware, and sold it. So look at the hardware. But I will tell you, depending on the age of the piece, if it has the original hardware and it's all intact, 9 times out of 10, that's what I'm going to use. But many times people will remove that hardware and kind of add modern hardware, and it just doesn't go with the piece. And so just by changing out that hardware, you can add a ton of value to your piece. Another good one that this is, sometimes people don't think about this, but it's a game changer to certain pieces. Adding legs. I'm going to tell you this right now. Somebody that's always on the hunt for like table legs, those chunky, I'm losing the word right now. You know what I'm talking about. I cannot think of the name right now, but bun feet, like those kinds of things. Those are legs, quote unquote, but be on the hunt for those. And if you find them, at yard sales, Restore, your thrift stores, whatever, pick them up, because you can change the entire look of a piece just by adding legs, and you can add a ton of value. And a good example of that is on my website. I actually just did a piece where it was I picked up the top of a Hutch. That's all they had. They didn't have the bottom. They just had the top where it had the glass doors. That was the only thing that was there. So just picture the top. There wasn't even like a top to it, if I remember right, and there was no bottom, but it was just actually like the outer part of a Hutch, the top of the Hutch, and then it did have the 2 doors with the glass. So can you picture that? And nobody was picking it up. I picked that up at Restore, if I remember right, and everybody was passing it by because all it was the top of a Hutch. Well, I instantly saw it and thought, we can add a top, we can add a bottom, and then if we put it on legs, now it's actually like a Hutch, a cabinet, a usable piece. You guys, that piece sold so fast. The lady paid extra for it before she even saw it because she did not want to miss out on it. So just by adding legs, you can add a ton of value. So right now I have a few projects where I want to add legs to some things, and I have been searching, and right now there's like a leg shortage. I don't even know, because I cannot find them anywhere. So if you are out and about, maybe you've got some in your garage, do not get rid of them, because they can add a ton of value to your projects. Here's another simple one, and this is one that a lot of the newbies, like people taking my course, people inside my private furniture flipping community, is the whole cleaning process. There is something to be said about a good clean piece, and just having it clean. Number one, if you are making it over, painting it, priming it, all of that, that whole process is going to go a lot better if you give it a good clean. But I'm even talking about at the end, like when you're going to sell it. Clean your pieces, dust them out. If something spilled on them, like clean them out before you're going to sell them. A clean piece is going to sell a lot faster than one that's not. And I'm telling you, when I'm searching for pieces to buy, when I'm, out hunting for pieces, people overlook that. And that may be why you're not selling your pieces, but clean your pieces. Another thing to remember, and this is going to lessen the value, this is going to give you less money when you go to sell, is just painting over problems. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's kind of like, how's the saying go? If you put lipstick on or something, anyway, it's kind of like that. If you paint over problems, those problems are just going to be highlighted. So don't do it. Make sure that the repair is done well before you are sanding, priming, painting, staining, whatever it is that you're doing with your makeover. Do not just try to cover up problems, because those problems will be highlighted 10 times more than, just leaving them as they are. So definitely repair. Do not just try to paint over them. Another thing is to keep doing it, right? Like, have patience, be persistent, keep improving your skills. Like, once you keep doing it, you don't give up, you see your failures or your mistakes as, stepping stones in the journey and growing and learning. Once your skills and techniques, as your experience just gets better and better, it's the more money, it's the more value you can add to your pieces. You can attach to your pieces. Like, people are going to be coming to you because you are the experienced one. You are the expert. And that has a higher value to it. To be completely honest, when you're just starting out, you're going to be at a smaller price point than maybe somebody that's been doing it for 3 years, 5 years, 1 year, right? Because every project you're going to learn how to do things better. You're going to learn different techniques. Hopefully you are taking courses and learning from people that have gone before you and have had great success, because that's going to save you a lot of time, money, effort, and tears. Let's just be completely honest. I wish that I had that when I started, but be persistent and just keep honing in on your skills, improving them, your techniques, and then that alone will add more value to your pieces. And the last thing, is that the last thing on my list? No, it isn't. I've got a few more. I think I have more than 10 here. That's okay. Another thing that people don't think about when they're just starting out is to start a social media account around your furniture flipping journey. And I know that scares a lot of people, and I know people get turned off by that, but let's just start being honest with ourselves. And the world is online. The world is using social media. Businesses are on social media alone. People are making money off their social media accounts. And you being, again, this kind of shows your expertise. This kind of shows your experience. It kind of makes you an expert. When you start growing an account, showing the content of what you're working on, what you're doing, again, people are going to find you, not just, around where you live, but people are going to come to you because, again, you're the expert. You're showing all the content. You're showing me how to do this. And that will just add value to your pieces. And hopefully you are just able to sell your pieces just on your social media accounts. And I have sold many pieces on Instagram alone. Once I share it, people will reach out to me and say they want to buy it. So it just becomes easier for you to sell pieces as well. So it's just a win-win. Another thing to think about to add value is to base the makeover around the style. So you kind of want to stick with the style of the furniture and not, veer too far away from it. Kind of stay with the style of the furniture, and unless your research has taught you or shown you that, that's not the case. Like, go way out of the style of the piece of furniture to sell pieces in your area or wherever you are choosing to sell. Online, you're going to ship your pieces wherever it is, wherever your audience is. But I would, for somebody that is just starting out, I would try and base the makeover around the style. So, a mid-century modern is really, to give it like a farmhouse makeover, they just don't vibe as well, if that makes sense. And there's a ton of people looking just for mid-century modern. And then there's a lot of people looking just for farmhouse styles. So if you kind of keep the styles where they are, it's just easier. It's just easier in selling and in the end, especially if you're just starting out. And use your creativity. Flipping furniture, one of my favorite things about it, obviously, is that it's an amazing creative outlet. Try new things. Try new techniques. As you start doing them, maybe pick up a piece that you think is way out of your skill set or is way out of your comfort zone. Push yourself a little bit with each piece. Now, I'm not telling you, especially if you're just starting out, don't go crazy and buy a broken piece that the legs are missing or, don't do anything crazy like that. But, if you've been sticking to end tables, stools, and just little pieces, maybe pick up a dresser and try a different paint technique or just even try a different color. But kind of spread your wings a little bit. And as you continue to do that, it's only going to make your expertise and your, your signature look that much better. You are going to be known for, a certain thing. Not to say that you can't veer away from that, but there will be one particular thing that people will be like, yes, if I want to learn how to do that, or yes, if I want to buy that kind of piece, I'm going to this person. And using your creativity and kind of going out of the, outside of the lines a little bit on different projects, is how you're going to get that and you're going to hone in on that. And again, that will add value to your pieces because they're paying for that expertise. They're paying for that you honing in and doing all the work, and practicing and all that, before to be able to get that exact piece and exact look. Again, when you're trying to kind of try new things and try new techniques, find pieces that are, smaller maybe, or just don't spend a lot of money on it because you want to see if you like it, if you think it's something you could continually do. But in the same thing, same sentence, if you have only done little pieces, just, try to do the dresser or try to do a little chest of drawers. Just kind of keep pushing yourself just to kind of get out of that box. Okay. Another thing that's really good, and this kind of goes back to that hutch that was broken, is add features or update features to make the pieces more functional for the way we live today. So that hutch was broken, right? And I know nobody would buy it and just sit, even if I put a top and bottom on it, nobody's going to sit the top of a hutch, on the floor, if that makes sense. Can you picture this? But now, once I added the legs, that's more functional for, somebody could use it as an entertainment center. Somebody could use it as a quilt storage. Somebody could just use it as a decorative piece. There were so many, just by adding the legs, it now functions as so many pieces. Somebody could use it as, sweater storage, like a dresser, or, their jean storage, whatever it is. So if just by adding, and to be completely honest, those are my favorite projects where I'm having to reimagine, a piece. The piece has got a lot of potential, but yet it just needs something else. It just pushes my creativity a little bit and kind of, instead of just bringing a dresser home that maybe needs some paint and, a good cleaning. I really like to be pushed and I really like to be challenged a little bit with those pieces that just need a little bit more. Another one that we just did is actually another hutch that I found at Restore. And it was amazing. Somebody had painted the inside this atrocious blue. I love blue, but this was blue gone wrong, right? And then the back had to be rebuilt. The bottom boards were kind of rotten, and so that had to be rebuilt. And I'm trying to think, there was something else. Oh, the trim up on the top. I was thinking it was amazing, but the whole right side was there's a big chunk of it missing. So we had to put on new trim. And again, that piece somebody bought it before, like paid for it before seeing it, gave me extra money to hold it. Like it was just one of those, and those are like my favorite projects. And I will link both of those Hutches here in the show notes so you can check them out. But those are my absolute favorite projects to do. So I wish I could just find more of them. But okay, I hope these tips and ideas helped you to kind of just think about it a little bit differently, push you a little bit in your projects and what you're looking for. But there's just so many ways that you can add value to your flip pieces that will, maybe push it an extra $50, $100, $200, depending on what it is. And even if you're just flipping for your home, like just those extra things that you can add to make them, conversation pieces and standout pieces inside your house. So if you have any questions about flipping furniture, you know where to reach me. You can email me at lindsay@mycreativedays.com. You can always message me on Instagram at mycreativedays. I would love to help you. I do have the furniture flipping course that is always available. So you can check that out as well. But until next time, guys, I will talk to you soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.